Smith. She is the creative director from Banyan Batiks, and she's very kindly taking some time out from her vacation to talk to all of us. So her kids are at the miniature golf.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Roads.
Yeah.
Like
she said, I'm Karen Gibbs. I'm the creative director of Banyan Batiks. You guys can ask me anything to do with batiks. It doesn't matter if it's Banyan or if it's somebody else, or I had this color or why this or anything like that. I run the production in Indonesia, as well as I draw absolutely everything that you will see today. Okay, so I know all of the processes of batiks, why we do things a certain way, and I'll get into a little bit of that, and I'll talk about the Black of the Month and why I chose this Black of the Month. I was the one who chose it, okay? I chose the designer, all of that. So you guys just have a little bit of knowledge about it, and you can ask me any questions that you want to, okay? All right, so Banyan Batiks by Northcott. We started 5 years ago. The general public knows about us for 4 years, because the first year I was designing behind the scenes. I was traveling to Indonesia and getting factories that I wanted to work with, okay? And also the Canadian sales reps were repping another company that Northcott had stolen me from. So that would have been complicated for them, and it would have hurt their income if we had announced what we were doing prior to that next fall market, okay? So I was adamant that we weren't going to do that. And so it was, you know, as we were building it, we wanted to make sure we had the right product for them, okay? So when you're designing batiks and a company comes to you and says, okay, we want you to design batiks. And like, okay, are you thinking of a line? Or, because I've designed cotton fabrics, I've designed batiks before, I've designed, you know, the ugly sweaters at Christmas time? Okay, yeah, so I've done a lot of, you know, like the sweaters and the turtlenecks with all the stuff on them, and we sold them in Macy's and Penny's and all of that, okay? So when Northcott came to me and said that, I said, okay, I'm thinking of a line, because at that point I had written a book, I was a pattern designer, and I maneuvered other fabric companies into the quilting industry, okay? I have a lot of online videos and teaching videos, that kind of thing. And like, okay, so they want me to design a batik line, and they're like, no, a division. And I'm like, okay, hold that thought, and you go in the corner and you do happy dance. You're like, wow. But think about that. How do you start a division? Okay, you want to make sure you have essentials, right, or basics. You want all of those colors. How many colors can you have? You know, some companies have 400. Okay, for another company, I had done 400 just basics. All right, and Brian, the owner of the company, is like, no. Okay, we're going to contain you in one little box. I'm like, okay, I'm not good at the box thing. So there's this constant little bit of war, like, oh, I love 48 colors. And he's like, I love 36. Because if you think of essentials, you got to warehouse them, right? Okay, and you got to match that color every single time. All right. So I'm just going to take you on a little bit of a journey as far as Banyan Batiks. They were going to, can you see it, or do you guys want to?
No, I'm fine here.
Okay. All right, so like I said, they came to me and said, okay, let's do this division, but we don't know the name of it. And they were going to say, what can we do with the name Karen? I'm like, on the internet, Karen's taken. And it's not so good. So maybe not. Okay. So we chose Banyan, okay? And the Banyan tree is the tree of life kind of thing. It's a symbol in Indonesia. And you can see the Banyan tree is kind of on a slide there. It's just a gigantic tree. It just reminds me a little bit of the live oak with the Spanish moss here kind of thing, okay? And it's in the palace grounds. It's in the north garden and the south garden. It's a symbol, kind of like in quilting we have the tree of life, right? In piecing we have it in applique, all of that kind of stuff. So I liked that kind of marrying of the two worlds, okay? Let's see, and these are the first two chops that we designed are in the center. The first one is actually Kaitan, which looks like a sticky rice, okay? Kaitan sticky rice is a celebratory rice in Indonesia, all right? And so that's one of our essentials. If you look in the bathing suit up there, the orange one, all of them, they're all Kaitan, okay? So I wanted an essential that was kind of a no print, okay? All right, let's see if I can hit some of there. Okay, so they're making the chops. What is the chop? You can see I'm sketching it in the center at the top. I do a black and white sketch, okay, and then they turn that black and white sketch into a chop. A chop, and I think I have the Hilton Head one there. No, okay. A chop is made out of copper and wood, okay? And let's see, prior to the early 1900s, Indonesia produced batik, and that's how it's pronounced, batik, okay, with a canting tool or a chanting tool, and they drew with wax, okay, and the wax would hold that color, and then you could dye the background or something like that. They were colonized by the Netherlands, Holland, and they tried to recreate these batiks through conventional printing. So Indonesia went to the chop. It's a faster way to do the printing of batiks, okay? But it's still handmade. And it works great for quilting because then it's kind of consistent. It's still a piece of art, please remember, okay? So colors can change a little bit. But it's the chop is what takes the wax and you apply it to the fabric. And that holds the motif color. So the first color that's applied is the motif color, or, you know, like the dolphin or the lighthouse on her print, okay? And then we go through a bleaching and washing process and drying process, and the background color is applied. So that's what's first, okay? And you can see here, this is basically from start to finish, okay? I don't know if I can get up there. This is a sketch that I'm doing. So I do a sketch. It's kind of like inspired by wheat kind of print. And then that's a chop that's created. It takes about 20 days to make a chop. And then we make the fabric and they send me strike-offs. And that shows just a quilt that I had done for a shop hop in Maine. Okay? So it's kind of the whole life story of the fabric, right? Let's see if I can get out of here now. What can you do? Okay. Oops, sorry.
Anybody want to FaceTime with our granddaughter?
I love it. Nobody ever knew you were working on a smart. Well, I already talked to both fathers.